Hello, everybody. I'm Krasi, and I will be talking about the eclipse. On the 4th of December, we'll be having the last eclipse of the year 2021. Next year, 2022, the eclipses will look very, very differently. They will be on a totally different axis of the sidereal zodiac, the astronomical zodiac. This year, all four eclipses took place on a very, very important axis, and this is the axis of Taurus-Scorpio. Now, I will be talking about the last eclipse, but I want to remind you that the influences of the eclipses, we do not feel only around the occurrence of the eclipse. The influences of the eclipses can take from 3 months to 3 years after the event. So these are energies which are piling up. We cannot, it would be wrong if I only now speak. Of course, I will give more attention to the coming eclipse in 3 days, but keep in mind that we are still under the influences of the past eclipses. Even some of the year 2020 were very, very powerful. And I can remind you that we are still, maybe, I believe so, experiencing the influences of the eclipses of 2020 because they were very heavy. They happened on the two major axes of the astronomical zodiac, Sagittarius, Gemini, and Taurus, Scorpio. And only, even if we look only at Taurus, Scorpio, this reminds us, of course, of the very powerful axis of money and power. This is why all the time, including, of course, other astronomical, astrological factors, we are heading towards new financial system because this is the axis of money and power. Of course, this is triggering huge, enormous financial change for the world, of course. And maybe this is a cycle which closing now in December. It's really, we can say that the environment for this change is completely prepared. It's like a cycle is closing. Now, in year 2020, we had 6 eclipses, and like I mentioned, 3 in Sagittarius, 3 Sagittarius, Gemini, 3 in Scorpio, Taurus. 2 extremely powerful axes of the zodiac. One, of course, I'm bringing you back because you see, these influences are not over. Sagittarius is so much about our awakening and psychological in consciousness because of the nature of this place. But okay, let's not talk so much about the past. I'm just reminding you about the energies and how they influence our lives. Let's very briefly look at year 2021. In the beginning of the year, I was explaining about the eclipses in a separate video, but I just want to tell you 4 eclipses, all in Scorpio, Taurus, all of them. And now is the last one. And the last one happening on the 28th lunar day of the month Arach Samna. Now, again, I'm reminding you, 4 eclipses and the influences of the first 3 we are still experiencing, and minimum until the spring of 2022, we will be under these energies. Yes, which will be taken over by something very different. But this is what is happening, and I'm reminding you, this is the axis of money and power, Scorpio, Taurus. We have there 2 royal stars. The star Antares, extremely powerful, the star of the army leader, and then we have the star Aldebaran, the star in the eye of the bull. Very, very potent, very, very powerful, again, related to power and money. But let me tell you also something else. We cannot look at them, of course, as separate events, because only days after that, and I will be placing a video now any moment about this, we're having the heliacal rise of Mars in Scorpio. So you see how emphasize the sign Scorpio is. What is Scorpio? Scorpio is death, but let's not look at that with a scary way, because Scorpio is also amazing knowledge, because in Scorpio we have the star Antares, like I mentioned, which is star of true, deep, ancient knowledge, but we also have sacred hermetic degrees in Scorpio, in Taurus as well. But because we're talking now about Scorpio, this eclipse is conjunction of moon and sun in the vicinity of the star Antares. They're meeting in the 18 degrees, and Mercury, by the way, is also there. Okay, now when is this eclipse happening? In Babylon, because they are the best analytics of the eclipses, because if I will bring you back to the kingdom of Sargon the Great, I think 2300 BC, around, he was the one who was absolutely fascinated with the eclipses. He had a team of astronomers that would, they had a towel in the temple, and they would simply look at the eclipses without being afraid of them. So yes, first I want to tell you something before I give you details about this eclipse. It happened so that I'm trying not really to watch the eclipses, but I was outside in the evening of the last eclipse, which took place 19th of November, and something very strange I saw on the sky. It is like the moon looked as if it is splitting into two. It was a red moon, and we were all driving towards this moon, and the moon, as if just for a moment, split into two. And what crossed my mind in this very moment was, this is separation. It means the society will split in two. You know what I mean? It will be really those that are awake, and the others that would decide to stay in the materialistic, so to say, because we all live in the material world, but and the other half that will opt for the materialistic life and matrix. So this is my impression from the previous eclipse. But let me tell you about this eclipse. This was like something that I can never forget. The moon was like divided into two at the moment of the eclipse, and I couldn't help but watching it with amazing. It was amazing. So 4th of December, eclipse, which would be formed by the moon and the sun meeting together in the 18 degrees of Scorpio. This is the sign, the star Antares. Before that, month Arach Samna, such lunar day, which is, first of all, it is happening in the very early morning, and the eclipse, and of course not for all parts of the world, but basically the eclipse will complete the morning watch. What is this meaning? In the ancient times, they would split the day and the evenings in parts, which they would call watches, and depending on when the eclipse would take place, then they would predict. When the eclipse is completing the morning watch, which will be the case, most probably, we have to see it, watch it to see, but more expectedly, excuse me, the eclipse, it means the eclipse will the duration of the influences of this eclipse will be up to 10 months. Then it is happening, it is happening in the morning watch, and it is completing. What is this meaning? It means, according to the omens of the Babylonians, it means the sick will recover. People who are sick will get healthy again. One good omen. But then this is the sign of Scorpio. And the sign and the sign of Scorpio, especially in the vicinity of this star, which is associated with army, with war. It's something which reminds me of, you see, well, of hostilities, and we will feel heavily the martial energies, especially after Mars turns visible in these points of the eclipse. Mars is turning visible in the 8 degrees of Scorpio in the middle of December. And I will bring you back to, because this is related to the eclipse, I will bring you back to October of 2019. The first appearance of Mars starts his new cycle, and it happened in Virgo. What is Virgo? In any type of ancient or modern or any astrology, Virgo is directly associated with health. And this is the cycle which Mars was carrying for the coming 15 months. And this is what we're feeling. So he completed one cycle to start another. And this another cycle is starting in Scorpio, where a degree in the vicinity of sacred degree of knowledge. So it will trigger amazing awakening. True knowledge will come before our eyes. Knowledge that it will literally amaze all of us. But then there will be hostilities. There may be really war-like situations all over the world. These months will be very, very heavy. I expect the winter to be heavy because of disappearance of Mars. There are other celestial events, like something else interesting is happening with Venus, but I don't want to put all this in one conversation, not to confuse you. So eclipse which is emphasizing on death. Many people will go, but this is the choice of the soul. Death is not that is not an end, so it's not, maybe we shouldn't look at this negatively. Well, yes, so people will go, hostilities, of course, further trigger of the change of the financial world situation, that's for sure. But let me remind you, morning watch, completion of morning watch, 10 months influence. Then we have the month Arach Samna. Other details also, the 28th lunar day, the month Arach Samna are pointing towards the ancient city of Subartu, which, if we imagine the contemporary map of the world, is somehow pointing towards Russia. Russia and the areas there. Well, this particular eclipse will trigger something in Russia. We will hear about this. Maybe enormous hostilities. Maybe something will be changing in the system. It will be heavy. But like I'm telling you, we cannot distinguish these energies because we had 4 eclipses on the same axis. Last year, 3 eclipses. So too many on this axis. Energies are piling up. The main thing which this is bringing in is really financial changes, triggering new financial system, which is triggered also by other factors. But this is like putting more fuel to the fire, oil in the fire. And yes, hostilities. Yes, people will react. Yes, people will stand behind their rights, and we will see unseen events in the world. Also, the police state will become very emphasized. Now they play hidden role, like a dirty role. They are a bit weak because of the position of Mars, but once Mars becomes visible, there will be conflicts, and the police forces will be very visible somehow. I don't know exactly in what way, but this is one thing. Then it will be time of choice for us. You see, we have to. Mars is also what? The good, healthy martial energies, which are what? To stand behind your rights, to keep your to be dignified, honorable. You know, this is also Mars, the true soldier. When he becomes visible in Scorpio, this is also what he is, a very powerful soldier-like energy. So there will be people which will stand behind their rights, and it will become a bit crazy in the world, and this will be the turning point towards the true change, which is happening on the edge of the year of Aquarius. We are not yet in the year of Aquarius, we are at the gates of Aquarius. So this is happening, but what to tell you, these energies will change. We will see events which you will not like by the spring of 2022. And after that, we have totally different axis influenced by the eclipse. And this is Libra, Aries, absolutely different energy. Also, the energies will change completely. The games of the rules will be changing. because also we are entering different cycle of the great conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn. But this will be for a separate conversation so that it doesn't become too diluted. So this is about this. Be fearless, like Mars in Scorpio. Of course, we are not blind. We'll be seeing what is happening. Some of us will participate, of course, because we are living in a collective society. Collective consciousness is ruling us in a way. So we will be seeing this happening. Be fearless. The world and the life is for the fearless. And stay behind your rights. Of course, Mars will give us power. Of course, Mars will give power also to the matrix, but I'm sure that he will bring also knowledge, because he's rising in the proximity of the sacred hermetic degrees of knowledge. And let me also close here. These eclipses are bringing indeed changes in the global financial system. It will not be the same, because now this is a chapter which is closing, and more we will see the changes. But these are eclipses also of knowledge, because there is nothing more knowledgeable than this axis of Taurus-Scorpio. Scorpio, because of the ancient hermetic degree there on the crown of the celestial scorpion, and Taurus, because this is first the hidden place of the moon with another sacred degrees of knowledge there. So I think we should welcome this without being afraid. And yes, the world is changing, but we chose to live in these interesting times. And this is also change of the game that we are, the movie that we're playing in now. So be strong and see you very soon.